Last Night in Soho, the new psychological thriller by acclaimed filmmaker Edgar Wright, stars Anna Taylor-Joy, Thomasin McKenzie, Terence Stamp, and the late great Diana Rigg in her final film role. Last Night in Soho tells the story of Ellie Turner, a girl who is infatuated with the 1960s and finds herself transported into the 60s and comes into contact with a nightclub singer called Sandy. But she then discovers that the 1960s is not all it appears to be, and then discovers that things become more darker and more terrifying for her. As always guys, before we go any further, I want you to hit that subscribe button so you can follow this channel, hit the alarm bell so you can get notifications to read when my videos going to be uploaded, and give this video a like as well. Edgar Wright is an acclaimed filmmaker, and just like other filmmakers such as James Cameron, his output isn't prolific, but the movies that he has put out are quality. The outstanding Baby Driver that was released in 2017, I was floored when I saw that film. It was inventive, it was original, and it had one of the best soundtracks I had ever heard put to film. And more importantly than that, it had great direction, great acting, and great writing. Those elements that worked with Baby Driver, Edgar Wright has brought with Last Night in Soho. This is an excellent addition to his filmography. It is brilliantly acted, brilliantly directed, great performances, loaded with chills, and it is loaded with the dry humour that has become a trademark in many of his movies. Last Night in Soho is a thoroughly gripping movie. And from the opening sequence of this movie, I thought that the film took place in the 1960s. And it just turns out that this girl was infatuated with that era. She had a record player from that era. All the movie posters were from the 1960s icons that she was infatuated with, namely Dusty Springfield, Cilla Black. And then when he goes and takes us into this journey into present day London, London is a character in itself, and he captures every landmark and gives it character, like Oxford Circus. What I love most about Last Night in Soho is that it fits so many genres. Even though it can be billed as a horror, this movie is more of a chiller, but it's also more of a mystery. And from certain scenes of the film, from an audience perspective, when Ellie goes into the 1960s, it's unclear whether she's actually having hallucinations or whether she's actually experienced this world herself. Edgar Wright is a very ingenious director. Just like Quentin Tarantino, he has a unique way of filming certain things, and he's got great dialogue to match it. There were elements of Back to the Future in this movie, especially when we see Ellie go into the 1960s. And she sees that London isn't the same anymore. She sees the movie that was out at that time, Thunderball. She sees the acts that were playing at that time. And when we see both Sandy and Ellie at the same time, just how he films those shots, seeing them walking side by side with one another, it's unclear whether Ellie is Sandy. But if there was one criticism that I could give for Last Night in Soho, it was really unclear from a narrative perspective as to how and why she was able to do this and go back into the 1960s. But that's just a minor criticism. And Edgar Wright has shown that he can handle any genre, especially how he captures that time frame. He captures the seedier side of Soho, especially from the cinematic angle. So we see the drugs, we see the prostitution, we see the violence, and it is all done tastefully. The back and forth element of the movie, from going from present day to the 1960s, didn't feel overused at all. It just worked, and it was always used at the right moments. And I felt that the interaction between Anna Taylor-Joy's character, Sandy, Thomasin McKenzie's character, Ellie, it worked. And to see them acting beside each other, side by side, mimicking each other's movements, I thought was excellent. What would an Edgar Wright film be without two elements? Dry humour and soundtrack. And this film has a lot of humorous moments in this movie that all hit their mark. Edgar Wright, just like Quentin Tarantino, just like Spike Lee, just like Martin Scorsese, has a knack for picking exceptional musical compositions to put in his work. And The Last Night in Soho is no different. This film has an exceptional soundtrack and musical score to complement the film. And the 1960s had brilliant music, and this is captured here in this movie, especially the music that was playing in Britain at that time. The performances in this movie are excellent, especially between the two leads. Thomasin McKenzie as Ellie, she knocked it out of the park, and she gave an excellent performance both as a heroine and both as a victim. And Anna Taylor-Joy as Sandy, brilliant character actress. She starred in such hits as Split, and I liked what she brought to the role as Sandy. The aspiring singer in the 1960s who discovers that it's not all it's cracked up to be. And that while she felt that she was actually going on the rise to the top, we actually got to see the decline of her life. We see the late Diana Rigg in her final performance. And she's always been a brilliant actress. And what a performance that she gave, and what a film to star in, as Miss Collins, the landlady. We also see Terence Stamp, and Terence Stamp has a mystique about him. He always played these seedy, mysterious characters, even though we will always know him as General Zod. And just his presence, his facial expressions, just how Edgar Wright captures him in certain shots of the film, add to the mystery, and it makes you question, okay, who is this guy? And that's what I liked about this film. It's not obvious. And I liked how the dark elements that Ellie experiences come to haunt her in present day. This is just another excellent film from Edgar Wright. Just like Baby Driver, the scope has expanded. He's not done something just like Baby Driver, he's given us something completely different. And just how he captures the scope of the 1960s, that era, he captures it perfectly, as well as present day Britain. And every actor in this movie delivered. And this is a movie that I just enjoyed from start to finish. And I left this movie with a great level of excitement. I had to tell my friend to go and watch it, and I recommend that you go watch it. This is a movie that I'll give a very strong 9 out of 10 to, and one that I recommend that you buy on DVD when it comes out. So guys, that's my review. Thank you for watching. Hit that subscribe button again so you can follow this channel. Hit the alarm bell as well so you can get notifications when my video is going to be uploaded. Give this video a like as well. Leave a comment with whether you've actually seen The Last Night in Soho and what do you think about it. Comment down below and I shall see you all in the next film review.